asked a question of Sai 20 years ago, and the question was, what is sexy in a woman? What makes a woman sexy? And that answer that he gave me surprised me a lot, and it helped me a lot in the last 20 years, knowing what his answer is. So I would like you to hear his answer, if he still remembers it, and I would like you to ask somebody who is really close to you and see what he or she will tell you about what they think. I would like to start the conversation, and I would like to read those answers in the comments below, because I'm very curious what other people would say. So Sai, would you please tell me what you think makes a woman sexy?
Well, they have to look a very specific way. Not really at all.
And wear the very specific clothes, right?
Exactly, yeah. And everything has to be perfect. No, that's not true. So, obviously, for different people, there's all types of different people that would be attractive for them and that would be sexy to them. So,
Yeah.
of course, sexiness comes in every color, literally, like every
Shape and
every
form.
hair type. Like there are some shapes that are more attractive probably than others, but basically a general kind of quality of sexiness maybe might be that a person that is healthy and takes care of themselves, and that that actually thinks about, that actually maybe makes health a priority in their life. I think there's not too much that's more sexy than somebody who looks healthy. Their skin is glowing. Their body looks toned. They don't look necessarily. For example, a person doesn't need to be skinny at all. Like skinniness is maybe something people perceive as attractive because they've seen some skinny girls that were models or something like that. But there's a level where that can go too far, and it's unattractive because it doesn't look healthy. But I think that more what people see when they see a skinny person is they're seeing a petite person or somebody who's kind of a small person, and they think that that's the only thing that's attractive. And that's not what it is at all. It's more of like somebody who takes care of themselves and does their best to eat right and everything, and they kind of just generally look strong, and they look like their body is in proportion to them. Like it's one of the things that I even thought about growing up about myself. Like I didn't have the kind of body that I wanted to have. I was more stocky than I wanted to be, and a lot of people told me that was a good quality, especially like because I looked really strong. But I wanted to be like more like the people who were skinny who I saw. But what I learned over time for my own self is that, wow, it really is about doing the best with what you have. And when you really take care of what you have, it brings out all of the very best in you. And that is what the idea is, really. So pretty much everybody has the chance to be a sexy person. But it does take some effort, because there are some qualities that make that come through more than other qualities.
So what would help a woman to bring those qualities out? What kind of discipline, I think you said, or something like that? What?
Okay, well, yeah, for example, if somebody has a sense of self-discipline, and what that means is that they kind of let go of their bad childlike behavior. And when I say their bad childlike behavior, it means that they have no restraint. So, for example, if a person eats candy all the time and cakes all the time just because they're an adult and they can, then, you know, if they overindulge in those types of habits, then that can start to show up in a way where they look more, I guess a good way to describe it is like disorganized, and like they don't have control over themselves. So, for example, I've seen in some women that, you know, maybe their eyes become bloodshot, and they're
Hazy.
and they kind of are hazy, like they're not really clear, and it's because they're overindulging in something, and that could be like alcohol or some kind of a drug as well. It just depends on the person. Whatever that they could overindulge in, that could kind of like get the best of them and really take away from them, them really looking like a person who has maybe some sort of self-control, which is a sexy quality.
Who's more disciplined, a little more sharp, maybe.
Yeah, more sharp,
looking.
more healthy looking. And so that doesn't mean that somebody can never do stuff for pleasure or something that they like to do. What it means is they don't let that thing, they don't become a slave to anything. And that kind of gives them, like you said, that sharper look, the clear kind of a feeling, and that kind of a clear feeling and a kind of a self-control. You can see it in the eyes of a person. Like you can see that they know how to take care of themselves. And a person who knows how to take care of themselves that's a sexy quality, I think.
Maybe that kind of lets their confidence shine through their eyes, the confidence that they accomplished something that is healthy, that is actually making them, their body at least, look sexy.
Right. For example, that's part of it, because it does shine through when a person has confidence, and having a little bit of self-discipline is needed in life to basically to live in a way where you actually can have anything you want, or where you're able to have anything. Like, because if you don't have some self-discipline, you're basically going to be lost, right? So yeah, I think that you're right, that when you say that self-confidence is attractive, it is. And that self-confidence kind of shines through, like you say, if a person has some self-control.
Exactly.
And it goes deeper than that too. Like, there's a clearness about a person who has some self-control and who is able to take care of themselves, that gives them a more kind of a clear look. And that clear look, that kind of a feeling of literally clarity, I guess, is a very, very attractive quality. And yeah, I guess that kind of explains that particular aspect of sexiness. Yeah.
Yes, and that was my question back then. Like, how does it look? How does a sexy woman look? But also, we talked about back then of what are the inner qualities of a woman that shines through, hopefully, a healthy body and fit body. So we know that healthy fit, that's the way to go for Sai, for me, and for probably a lot of people. So what are the inner qualities that make a woman sexy?
Okay, so there's some other things too. Now, I particularly think that femininity is attractive and sexy. And femininity to me doesn't mean somebody who's not strong. Like, you can be physically strong. You could be as strong as you want to be. I mean, you can go and deadlift and like reach your max weight. And even though doing that isn't necessarily going to make you get bulked up, because just lifting heavy weights doesn't make you bulky. It'll make you more strong. I'm saying even if you do put on a little extra weight because you're going for that specific thing, like, there's still a very sexy quality in anybody who is healthy. So and you can still be very feminine as a very strong woman. So I think femininity is not about whether you look like a docile tame creature that has no independence, or that like is so femininity is not like some stereotype that somebody put out there. It's something that's beyond that. It's actually natural. Like, if you are a woman, then you have certain hormones, and if you don't interfere with those hormones, then you're going to maintain a certain level of femininity based upon your hormones alone. And in addition to that, like, just the realization of who you are, knowing who you are, you know, there's a difference between a man and a woman. So just being aware of yourself and what that means for you, like, and being happy about that, meaning accepting those qualities about yourself that you were given from birth. I think that's feminine as a woman, and being comfortable with that, feeling good about what you were given as a woman, having all of those qualities that a woman has, that is feminine. That's basically accepting your particular self, you know, who you are, and that's feminine for me.
So what are those feminine qualities that a woman is born with naturally, or that are actually really attractive, that helps a woman to be sexy?
Okay, well, I think it's different for different people.
Yes.
But are you speaking more physically then?
No, this time more of the
Okay.
inner self. You know, what are those that you said femininity?
Right.
We talked about being in shape, being healthy. So I think we talked enough about the outside shell. But what is helping? What is a natural feminine quality that could shine through a healthy body and a healthy fit self?
Okay, well, first of all, independence,
Okay.
and that's something like just knowing that you're happy with yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, but nurturing quality is a feminine quality. And also having some kind of interest in others, and that is kind of a nurturing quality. But the ability and the kind of just the feeling of knowing that you see people and you can kind of help them out or take care of them by like listening to them or basically showing an interest. So that does not mean that a woman should not talk. I think in general women are known for talking more, and that's kind of like not always the case. I mean, there's some men who talk way more than women, so I'm not like trying to generalize. So it's not about giving up talking at all. I mean, that's a great thing. You should talk. You should. But if you actually show some kind of care or interest in others in a nurturing sort of way, you know, that's a feminine quality too.
Very much.
In addition to that, I mean, I guess that's kind of the feminine aspect, you know. Just wanting to be able to take care of people a little bit, and not just your man or the man who's in front of you, or but looking out for people in general.
Yeah, it's like caring. So it sounds like nurturing, caring, patient, because a good listener who's also could be a good talker, as you said, it's not against the talking, more like a patient, loving person.
Right. I mean, those qualities are sexy, and when I say that I want to make sure that I explain, I'm not talking about a person that is like a perfect person or a person who like is trying to conform to some standard or idea. I'm just talking about like bringing out the best in yourself and being a real person, you know, like being a real person.
Exactly. So it sounds like realness and honesty and knowing yourself, all the good inner feminine qualities, nurturing, patience, care, love, and in the meantime having self-discipline and restraint and building a strong fit body and being healthy in your body, in your habits, and in your mind as well. So it sounds like, so I always thought when I asked this question from Sai 20 years ago, I thought Sai would tell me, oh, big breasts and this kind of booty and then makeup and blonde and who dresses like this. I'm sure he could choose his type of dressings too, what is attractive to him in dresses, but he didn't care about those things. He went to the feminine qualities from the inside, that a person knows about themselves and has confidence in themselves as a whole person who knows who she is and takes good care of themselves and their hygiene and their body, and bring the best out of their body and their mind and their whole well-being. Did I understand this right?
Yeah, generally, and happiness, you know,
Oh.
like that's a sexy quality too. I mean, like, so somebody doesn't have to really like, they don't have to be like too responsible. And I clarify that because if somebody is being disciplined, that doesn't, discipline is I mean, if you hear like to learn a discipline, there's so many different disciplines, and some people have used the life kind of philosophy of you build disciplines upon disciplines, like a martial artist builds upon discipline, and there's something attractive about that, but that doesn't mean that you can't laugh or joke or like be relaxed in yourself, because relaxation is also being relaxed and comfortable with yourself. That's also a sexy quality, and it's also if you're a woman, then that's a feminine quality too. So maybe I wanted to add one more thing to this whole idea. Being a smart person, meaning really like learning about what is important to you and investigating for yourself the things that you're interested in life, and actually becoming like a person who really knows about certain things well. You don't have to know about everything, nobody can. But if you know what you know and you like learn about something in depth and you're really an authority on that kind of a thing, that like is a sexy quality too. Everybody likes thinks that intelligence is sexy. Now, I want to even take that a little bit further.
Okay.
So, in addition to intelligence being sexy, a woman and a feminine quality, a feminine way of being is a woman can be smarter than a man, for example, in a situation. And of course, a man can be smarter than a woman too. This isn't like about who's smarter, right? Everybody has their different types of intelligence. So what we're talking about is that wisdom in a way and intelligence together, but like a woman who knows she's smart but doesn't have to prove that she's smart. For example, there's something that a woman can do that is a very sexy quality, is to use a little restraint if she really doesn't want to, like it's basically also not wanting to destroy a man with your intelligence. That's a feminine quality. I mean, maybe you could destroy a man with your intelligence, but the point is, it's a feminine quality to be able to like see what you see and to be able to use that that intuition or that intelligence in a way that that actually makes you a better person, that actually is helpful for another person to like be able to look at a man, for example, who you see the flaws in, and be able to restrain yourself from bullying him or putting him down. You know what I mean? That's an attractive quality, because anybody can I mean, you know, like there's male chauvinism in the past, you know, and now there's also sometimes, I don't know if you would call it woman chauvinism. I don't know what that is for a woman, but like if a woman, you know, gets a little arrogant and thinks that she's something, it's not a very feminine quality. I mean, it's good enough to know that you're something. Like you don't have to like prove that you're something.
To me, it's like kind of like a humbleness. If
well,
a woman is humble, even if she's a superstar and super sexy woman, but she stays humble. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, the truth of the matter is that the most amazing people are the most humble. And the reason that they are the most humble is because they know. And because they know, they don't want to rub it in anybody's face. You know, they have realized and learned that, you know, they've got something good going on and they're happy with it. They feel good in themselves and they don't want to make somebody else feel worse, right? So I think that is the kind of humility that a person who really is confident has. Do you want me to take it a little further, or do you want to wrap it up more?
No.
Okay. So, for example, let's look at a man. Okay. the man that is out there who is like pushing his weight around and like trying to prove to other men that he can dominate them or take over, that man is generally not probably the man who actually is the dominant man. He is generally not the alpha male. There are a few alpha males like that, but that's generally not an alpha male quality, because there's always somebody that can beat you. So the truth of the matter is that a person that knows how to take care of themselves is not going to try to dominate somebody else for two reasons. One, because they know that they don't underestimate anybody else. And they don't assume anything about anybody else. But also, if they really are confident in themselves and they know that they could really crush anybody, then they don't want to crush anybody. They don't want to hurt anybody because they know that they could, and that it gives them a little bit more compassion for a man who maybe isn't as, I guess, who doesn't have those alpha qualities as much. So it's the same with a woman being a smart, intelligent, attractive woman. It's not that she has to be humble in a way where it's a traditional style thought of being humble. You know, a lot of people say, oh, well, why should I be humble? You know, I have to put myself out there and I have to like be powerful. You know, humility shows power if you have confidence in yourself and if you really are the person that is great. So it doesn't mean that you never ever show any kind of confidence in yourself. Of course you do. If somebody compliments you and says some great thing about you, then a way to show humility would to graciously accept the compliment and say thank you, and think that that's a great thing that somebody complimented you. Whereas if you weren't very confident in yourself, maybe you'd want to like, maybe you'd say, oh, you know, don't say that, or something like that, or oh, or you know, no need to say that, you know, or like, so to graciously accept a compliment, for example, is humility. So I just want to clarify the difference between what maybe people might think in a religious sort of way of being humble, in a way that maybe is a stereotypical way, but maybe an undesirable way in some ways. I'm talking about true humility, which is just realizing that you are a person. There are people that will be considered greater and lesser by other people, and there are people that you will think are greater or lesser than yourself in some aspect. But it's just basically being a way that is kind towards other people. Like that's all that I mean by humility or humbleness in this case. So
okay, that makes sense. So when I asked him, I thought that the words that he will throw out will be, as I said, the breast size and the tallness or shortness or the hair color, or what the woman wears, how the woman is wild and the woman is confident, but more almost in a non-positive way. So would you please throw out what we talked about to summarize, and just throw those words out that makes a woman sexy? Just the words, just those 10 words that we all mentioned here, so we can kind of go through them one more time.
So discipline or restraint,
self-confidence,
independence, nurturing, self-care.
Now this is inside and outside too, so you can put everything.
A physically taken care of body.
Like fit, maybe?
Well, yeah, fitness always, well, I should say that fitness helps, but like you can take that too far too.
Exactly.
It's enough to shoot for healthy. Healthy is good. Healthy doesn't fall under the category of like stick figure with like every muscle showing through.
Yes. Not that fit
like healthy might be like a little bit of extra weight, but it's firm. You know what I mean? Because you have learned how to manage your body. So we are getting more physical, but that's one of the aspects that is attractive to me personally, as somebody who takes care of themselves that way. But it doesn't mean that they have to have a specific body type.
Exactly.
It's more about working with what you have and just bringing out the best of that.
Exactly, I agree. And I think basically that's the best way to end this to say working what you have and bring the best out of it, outside and inside, because obviously those two go together. And I think that's about the best thing I could hear when I asked him 20 years ago. Basically, that's what he said: bring the best out of yourself and be healthy and fit and kind and nurturing and confident and all those never-ending words. But I want to hear now what your man will say and what the woman who is close to you will say. It doesn't have to be a man. I'm really interested in what men think of women. But whoever you want to ask this question, I would like to know what they say, and I would like you to put it down to a comment, because I'm super curious of, it's just us, it's just him, or what do other people say? What are the general things? Maybe we don't know. Maybe most of the men will say, oh, she has to look this and that, and she has to behave this and that way. So maybe his generalization, kind of wide view, is not as popular amongst men. So I would like to hear what makes a woman sexy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anything else you want to say?
I think we could add to it for another time.
Okay, and we will continue from here.